alibena koto Gambia muso do alibena nyino be faroto alibendo nyino do Gambia muso do alibena.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the Women's Hour with me, Fatou Sanyang. We have been going around with the Women's Hour show, and today we have a different type of, doing the show. We have a young woman, a young lady in the studio with us, and she's somebody who's very influential. She's a youth activist who has been into activism for a very long time and have been doing amazingly well in her domain, that is activism in this country. So we are here to talk more about activism and what is actually activism and the impact of activism in her life and in the Gambia at large. So thank you so much for being here with me today in the studios.
Thank you for having me as well. Today is my first time being here, and I have seen the TV station online, and you guys are doing amazingly well, and it's good to be here. In your introduction, you made mention of influence, and I'm like, okay, am I really influential? But yeah, it's good to be here, and I hope and I know the show is going to be an interesting one, and also getting to tell the viewers my journey of where I started and where I am today, and generally how I see advocacy in the Gambia and what can be done right. And yeah, I look forward to an interesting show.
Fatou Suno, before we go further, can you please give us a brief background about yourself?
Okay, my name is Fatou Suno. Yeah, and I am a feminist, and I'm a child rights advocate as well. I believe in the social, economical equality of both genders. So I stand for that in anywhere that I go. Anybody knows me for standing for that. I have those beliefs, and I stand for it in my work life, personal life, be it whatever space that I find myself. Those are the things that I push for, and I talk about it anywhere, just to let people understand the perspective of gender equality and then the misinformation that is around the particular topic. And I also like to eat food. I like
Obvious.
food a lot. I like to eat a lot, and I like to travel, reading. I do it, even though now I suck at it. I have not really been giving it a lot of time, but yeah, and I love to listen to different podcasts as well. So yeah, basically that's.
Can you give us a little information about your professional life? As an activist, does it really revolve only on activism? Do you have other things that you are achieving?
Okay, for my professional life, I would say I started not necessarily in the advocacy field, because I started with ACE Communication Executive. I was working with Fatim Baji for 3 years. I was there. I started as an intern for almost 2 years, and then I elevated to a communication associate. So whilst I was there, I was also with young people in the media, He for She the Gambia, and I was also volunteering with Starfish the Gambia. So yeah, that's where I started. But even with that, whilst I was at ACE, the work that they do, youths were very integral. They were very important in that part. So I would say it has not completely separated, it's intertwined. So from ACE, I went to USL Technologies Limited. So it's owned by a Gambian, Fatou Jabi. So she stays in the US. So she was trying to have a subsidiary of her company in Gambia. The company is actually in America, so they are into innovation, energy, renewable energy, sustainable environment. So the subsidiary company started. We just went 4 months into it, and then the COVID pandemic happened. So when the pandemic happened, the company had to close down, unfortunately. So then, I had a one month gap from working. So then I went to Insys Global, where I was a front desk and an admin assistant for 9 months. So whilst I was there, I think I applied for the United Nations Resident Coordinators Mentorship program. So yeah, the mentorship program also was a little bit affected by the pandemic because we can't be in a gathering. So I received an email whilst I was doing my work at Insys that I got an internship as a communication, as an intern for communication and partnership. So I was there, and you know, I was a little bit conflicted because the money that I was getting at Insys was good. So you know, the internship, you're not actually paid; you're just given stipend.
Yeah.
So you know, I was conflicted between should I leave my that job and go for the internship opportunity. And I remember I was talking to a friend. So, you know, I was that one person. He told me, you know, and I also remember my dad's supervisor, then Larissa, told me, you know, working at the UN is a privilege.
It's a big job.
Yeah, and not everybody gets that privilege to work there. So, and I remember I told us, boy, my fee, but literally. So he was like, you know, one thing could happen there. You know, you would go there, you learn as much as you can, show that you are a valuable person, so that whatever would happen in the future, they will allow you to stay. So, you know, I did that. So even though I was given tasks to do, I always make sure that, you know, even if I was not given something, I would ask people, can I help in this way? What can I do? What can I do? So I offered myself being very accessible and reliable. Anybody could rely on me anytime, even though some of the things I was doing, I have no idea. At the beginning, I found it a little bit challenging, but it was something that I could learn and improve. So I got an internship for 6 months, and after my internship, I was given a contract of a consultant, and I was there for like 1 year, 6 months.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
By the way, she's a graduate from the University of the Gambia, a School of Journalism and Intermedia. She's a communicationist. She's not only an activist, but she's a communicationist and a journalist like me here. So she knows better than what I'm doing right now. Probably I just have the privilege to interview her.
I think you guys are the professional.
Really?
Because for me, the reason why I didn't, because even my cousin made fun of me. He always make fun of me like, you have a degree in journalism and you're not really practicing it. And you know, those are the the general public are misinformed. You don't necessarily have to be in front of a 3D screen or be on a radio, because what I was doing was also very important when it comes to communicating, that is sharing information on social media, telling people what's happening, and also enlightening people the work that, you know, the UN is doing. So I think it's very important. People need to understand that, you know, having a career or having a bachelor's in journalism is very diverse. It depends on you where you want to see yourself. You can even be working as a communication officer in a health-related field or whatever you want. PR as well. So, you know, it's very diverse. So it's up to the individual to explore the option he or she wants to find him or herself in.
Yeah, those are most important things. As if you study journalism, they expect you to be on TV or radio, etc. Whilst we are trained like differently, we can work in any domain. You can take us in any ministerial position and we're able to deliver because we have so many things that we have learned during our studies, during our 4-year studies. Journalism doesn't only be like on TV. You can be a communication officer, you can be a PR, you can be IT, you know, personal assistant, etc. So for this one, let's come talk about activism. Can you please give us a brief background? What activism is all about?
If you would, activism can be very. That term is very broad, and I feel like everybody can be an activist in one way or the other individually, depending on the cause that you are fighting for, or you believe in, you know, what is happening is not right. You need to stand up for a particular cause. So for me personally, I think I have been standing up for the cause for women and children since they are the most vulnerable, and the setting that we find ourselves in Gambia. Gambia is a very patriarchal society or country, so there are a lot of things that do happen, because women and children are vulnerable groups, and they are mostly affected. So for me, that's where my advocacy came from. For me, I think I started being an advocate even, not knowing what advocacy is. For me, I think I have been very competitive. Being the firstborn, I'm a lady, and then the one immediately after me is a boy. So there's always that comparison between, I know your brother would do better. So I had to work twice as hard to prove myself like I can also do as better as whatever I put my mind to. So for me, why should I be put secondary because I'm a female? So that is where it comes from. So also having the interaction with young people in the media, and it also empower me to elevate me to understand things more, and there are things like people are not well informed of based on religion or cultural belief. So you just have to persuade them and carry them along, tell them this is what you think is right, or this is where they're not really going on the path that they should.
There is always a negative connection attached to activism in the Gambia, especially when it comes to, you have made mention about Gambia is a patriarchal state.
Yeah.
Men always think like activists are here to compete them.
Yeah.
They are here to do, influence their women to stand against them and do things that are not, religiously okay. So what do you have to say on that? Is that really true?
That's the belief that they have, but that's not the case. Advocacy is part of development, because those are areas that women are lacking. So we can't really progress without men. So men should be our partner. They should be very supportive when it comes to the cause. Nobody is saying that, we are anti-men, we are against men. No, we are not. The thing is, we have seen problems, we have seen issues, we identify the issues. And it's very important that men also accept the fact that those issues or those problems are there. So the first stage or the first step is accepting and acknowledging that this is a problem. Sometimes the problem, the men themselves are part of the problem. You can be part of the problem subconsciously. You don't even know that, okay, this is something that I believe in subconsciously, but you're actually part of the problem. So if you accept the fact that you're part of a problem, maybe you're part of a patriarchy, because some men subconsciously, I always have this conversation with my guy friends, some of them would say, I remember a few days ago I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. He was like, I'm actually tired. If I have a wife, she will be the one folding my clothes. But I'm like, are you marrying someone's daughter to be your mate? Because if that's the case, you can hire someone to do that work for you, but you are not marrying someone's daughter to do that for you. It's like, no, that's not the case. I'm just, and trying to brush it off. But that in itself is a problem. So those are things like, you don't necessarily have to marry someone to do that. Those are things that you could do for yourself. I feel like for me, men should see marriage as a partnership. We complement each other's effort. These are things, a woman can do certain things. You can also help to make, life easier for everyone. So
Exactly.
I feel like the key step is like men acknowledging that there is a problem and accepting that, okay, this is a problem. How do I solve that particular problem? Yeah.
Well said. It is important to know that marriage is companionship. It's not about, I married her, I paid her bride price, and she is now under my control. I will do anything that, and she will respond to anything that I said. Come on, we are in the 21st century, and it is important to know that marriage is companionship. When God says marriage, He said, you be one, and then you help each other to grow. If there is no growth or development and companionship, then I don't think there is marriage, to my own opinion.
And I think that there are a lot of not misinformation when it comes to religion. I think people pick and choose, and especially, I'm not anti-men, but this is something that we have to acknowledge it is happening. The famous thing men will actually quote from the Quran is like, I am entitled to marry up to
4 wives.
4 wives, but the Quran actually really empowered women, because we have seen during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even his mother was not breastfeeding was not breastfeeding him. He was breastfed by Alimatu Sadiya, you know. So that is to show that how empowered women are. So imagine right now, in this day and age, and in Gambia, and I am like, I'm not going to breastfeed my child, they will say that I have copied the Western culture, but that's not it. These are things that were practiced before, during pre-Islamic time, just to show that how women were empowered. So I believe that, you know, we should really learn the Quran and the Hadith, so that we know, okay, how do we really empower our women, but not to pick and choose things that favors us.
Well said. What I want to add on that is, I have a follow-up question which says like, men nowadays are scared, or they are afraid to come close to women, like activists. They always pinpoint us like, you know, no-go area, a danger zone. So, Fatou, do you have any experience when it comes to that? People, men timing you as somebody who is always a challenge, like somebody who's always ready to fight the male gender.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm not anti-men. I don't fight men with words. For me, it's like I am a very, how would I say, I'm a very calm person. Anybody who knows me personally knows I'm very calm and collective. So even if I am to get into an intellectual argument, there's a way, like I don't necessarily have to go on top of my voice to raise my voice to be heard on what I want to put across. So for me, like some people might term it, because some people would say you nag a lot, you are difficult to deal with, but that's not the case, because I'm a lady of principle. I have my principles. So, you know, if I find my situation that I feel like it's very toxic and a male is trying to dominate me because I'm a female, I actually tell the person, I put my point across. So putting my point across, if that makes me difficult, I don't mind. But it will not, you know, someone will not make me to actually shy away from who I am or to dim my light, because of the fact that, you know, you will feel some type of way. So I would say I have been termed by some people, but I'm not really bothered by it.
Thank you. When you talk about Suno, it's like a household name when it comes to activism and youth work in this country. What has made you, you know, different, stand out from other people, from other young people that are in the activism and youth empowerment area?
You know, everybody is it's unique in their own way, be it he or she. Everybody is unique in your individual way. So I would say what really makes me stand out, I would say my personality per se. My personality, it's very pleasant. The people that I have engaged with in the professional work setting, in advocacy, and even in my personal life as well, they could tell you, you know, Suno is a very pleasant person to interact with or to engage with. That's one thing. And I think I have also learned to, you know, separate personal life from advocacy life, from professional life. So, you know, if I'm in my professional space, there's a way I carry myself. If I'm in the advocacy space as well, because what happened with the advocacy space is I try to make myself as accessible as I can be, and also that, you know, people can, you know, reach out to you. Sometimes there are things that people are going through, they're in a conflicted issue and they don't know what to do, so you have to, you know, bring yourself. Maybe what they are going through, you don't know how it feels, but just comfort them, to let them know, okay, you are there with them, with what they are going through. So whatever the case is, you are there to listen. You are there so that you're a soldier they can lean on. So for me, I think, you know, maybe that would make me stand out. But I'm my own individual. Anytime people see me, I'm always smiling. Yeah.
And that's a good thing. If you say you're an activist, you have to, it has to show in your personality. You cannot be an activist and you are frowning everywhere you are seen around. So you have to have that comportment. I want to add on what you just said. Sunu, are you working on planning to organize or to create an organization, because you have the experience? What are you planning to give back to the community or to the young people, as you have earned a lot of experience when it comes to activism and young youth empowerment and activism in this country? What is next?
I would not say I would want to set up my own organization. That is like I'm being duplicating effort that have been already done. So for me, I'm open to collaborate with anybody. So if you want to have a insight knowledge of certain things, I'm open to that. Anybody that knows me knows I'm accessible anytime. So if there is certain thing that you want me to do, if I'm available at that time, I always show up and provide my input. So right now, what I'm doing is I have not set up any organization. So right now, most of my time, the time that I'm not working, I have dedicated that time to give back. For me, young people in the media has empowered me to where I am now. So it has also created open doors for me in terms of networking with different people. So right now I have dedicated my time to young people in the media. So I'm actually coordinating the new recruitment that we have. We have I think a month or 2 months ago, we had an election, a general election, where we had to select our new executive. That's the president, the vice president. So I have that going on, and if anybody watching that really wants to partner with us, you can always reach out on Twitter, and I am at Fatou on Twitter, so you can reach out. Maybe we can kick it off from there, and I'm open to partnering, and whatever the case might be, I'm open to that.
Okay. When you talk about activism, I want to add, what is the role of activism in any developing country? What are the most important things that activism can create in a country? Since they say everybody now is an activist, everybody is an activist. I am a gender activist, I am a woman activist, this and this and this. Some people have even similar things, but instead of working together collaboratively, they just creating their own thing. Everybody have an organization, and sometimes their goals are aligned. So, Father Sunu, can you please give us a hint on what activism is all about, the importance of activism, and what can it create in any development country?
I think sometimes the problem is, efforts are being duplicated, and people would want to work in silos, so that everybody could take credit of, okay, this is what I have done. I have done this thing have happened because of me, but it doesn't happen like that. So it's a collective effort. Like, for example, I will take the case of FGM, that's the female genital mutilation. It took like 50 years of advocacy before, a law could have put past to ban the practice. So that is to show that, it's a continuous process. It's not something, change does not just happen one day. So
it's a continuous process.
Yeah, it's a continuous process. So it is very important for me, like you said, now anybody can get up and say, I'm an advocate for this, I'm a feminist, I'm a gender equality. That's a good thing. But what is really important, you really have to be educated, be well aware of issues, because issues are happening. It's not just happening within the Gambia. You should be well informed of all the developmental issues that are happening across the region at international level as well, so that the people that you're going into to persuade them on some of the traditional practices that they are doing, that you need to present them with facts. Because sometimes you go to these communities, you think that they don't know what is happening, but they are well informed. So what if you go there, they put you on the spot or ask you questions, and you don't know how to answer them? It makes you feel like you are not credible. What you're doing, you don't know it.
Yes. I want to add on that. To be honest, some of the people out there are using activism as a way of raising funds or get themselves rich. To be honest, because people know that there are so many opportunities that is attached with activism. You have funds here and there, and you have the connections also. Instead of taking that money to use it wisely, you know, make the change that you are aiming for. They use it and put it in their pockets, in their bank accounts, and which is quite wrong. So obviously.
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes there's some of the misconception that even, you know, you go to communities, you know, you're trying to send an information across. Like if you go to a community, tell them about that child marriage is bad, FGM is bad, wife battering is bad. So they have this perception that we're being paid to advocate for it. We're giving money from the West. So, you know, sometimes these are issues that are hindering development. It will not really allow development to flourish. So even though, you know, the funds that you're given to implement some of these activities are very limited, so they would think that you're giving millions to go there. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you, in certain cases, you have to use your own personal funds to implement activities. So it depends on the individual. Why are you doing the course? People have different notion for it. Some people may want to enrich themselves from it. For me, I have been doing it for ages. You know, I have not been rich because of
and those people are spoiling so many things in like for us, like people that want to create change and do something for other people. Because when you are given a fund and you mismanage it or use it anyhow, it's going to affect the person who's going to come next. Probably the person have a genuine reason why, genuine cause, and it's going to affect that person's, you know, problem. And the people also are going to have the perception that anybody that comes to my village and talks about FGM, at the end of the day they will give me money, which is quite different because every project have a different people that wants to, you know, they want to get across.
So for me, it's more of like, you know, if you go to the people at the community, tell them the facts, what's happening. For me, I don't sugarcoat. Like I tell you the way it is. This is not something that we are making money out of it. You know, you have to connect with them on a humanly based. So it's not necessarily that you're going to pass information down to them, because there have been cases wherein we went to communities to tell them about the harmful practice of FGM, and some people had to share their own personal story for them to know that, okay, this is how bad what we are doing to our girls, this is the effect that it has. So for me, it's more of like having an honest conversation with the people that, you know, you're trying to advocate for, or you're, you know, speaking up for them on their behalf. You need to have a genuine conversation with them. And also in that conversation, sometimes you do not have to be defensive about the cause that you're doing. You know, it's very important to listen to them. So to understand, so they also listen to you as well in order to, you know, make progress.
Yeah, well said, and those points are very important. And I want to add something on it, like advocacy. As a person, you need to have that qualities in you. Can you please tell me what are the qualities that any advocate should possess?
I would say it's very important to know how to communicate. It's very important for one to know, okay, this is how I should communicate, because sometimes you get to certain places, they will actually provoke you, so you need to keep your emotion in check, and you should not take things too personal. Sometimes it's what you are doing, it comes along with it. You know, sometimes you be called names, so just know that it comes along with the jobs. So like for me, the example that I always use is Michelle Obama, where she will always say, if they go high, you go low, if they go low, you go high. So the moment you have that, you know, you have that at the back of your mind, you know how to maneuver around it. You also have to be a good listener as well. So if you go to people, listen, and also, you know, do not act like you're better than them, because sometimes there's that inferior complexity. Like you go to the people in the provinces, they feel like, okay, these people feel like they know better than us, or they think they are well knowledgeable. Try to blend in into whatever environment you find yourself. Try to blend in, and those people are very open people. Sometimes they will invite you to eat their stuff. So even though you might not like it, but like I said, it's very important to blend in. Just do not turn down the gesture that they're giving to you.
Sunu, the points that you have mentioned are very important because we usually go to up countries, that is a provincial, and then to do advocacy there, and sometimes you are welcome to their homes. Those people are so nice, but you have to accept anything that they give you. If they give you food, go and eat the food and drink their water, because it is there is a statement which says that if you go to the village, act like the villagers yourself, so that they can feel like you are at home, and then they can have a trust, you know, to communicate with you, and then give you what they are going through, since you are there to make advocacy and to impact a change. And language is also very important, because when people go there, you know, the language tone is very important, because what is okay here, it can be an offensive language in the provinces. So it is very important for you to know the dialect of how they speak. There are different kinds of Mandinka here. If you speak the Mandinka, Komba Mandinka, you go to the provinces, you want to speak the same Mandinka, you might say words that are harsh and which are not, you know, accepted in that community. So I think those things are important. So language is also important.
Yeah, languages are very important, because you go to certain places, they're very cultural. Like what I'm wearing right now, if I go to certain communities, it's not accepted. What they accept is you need to wear the traditional wrapper around you. So it is very important to know, you know, where you're going before even going to where you are supposed to go, to maybe have a community outreach with them. It's always important to do your research, find your facts before getting there, because you don't want a backlash with the people. So yeah, that's what I would add on to
okay, what
that.
Final word you want to say?
And it's very important that you made mention of something, and I think I wanted to say it, and now I'm recalling it, because there's two different dynamics. You know, you go to the provinces, you see the amount of, you know, you see poverty, you see how, you know, people are suffering there, and we have certain things here that we take for granted. They don't have some of the basic social amenities that they should have. Even though we would say in the urban area we have it, we don't even have what is sufficient enough to take care of us. So with the little that they have, or nothing that they have at all, they live a very, I would say, happy life and content, and which should not have been the case, because you go to certain places, they would have to walk more than 10 kilometers for their children to go to school. They don't have proper sanitation there. They don't even have proper water to drink. So those are issues that, you know, we should talk about, not just limiting our advocacy around, you know, gender equality. Gender equality is important, but there are also other issues like people need to get proper water to drink, proper sanitation, proper wash, and there should be proper education as well. Those are other, you know, issues that are very important, that maybe, you know, some advocates could focus on those areas. Environmental issues, you know, those are things that have impact on our daily lives.
Yeah, those are important points, because if you see nowadays, people only concentrate on certain areas, equality, FGM, child marriage, etc. If you go to up countries, there are some areas that they don't need that. The most important things they need is clean and hygienic drink and water, you know, good roads, you know, having books, children having books to go to school. And I think those people that are around this area should go to the provinces, I mean, the length and breadth of this country, because there are some areas in this country, they need books. Even to have a school, you know, book is a problem.
They don't even have. I remember there was a time we went to the provinces during the regional consultation that we had before for the I will not elaborate on that. That's work related.
Yeah.
So, it was a consultation to know what the Gambian people want in order for the government's development to align with that of the UN for the next 5 years. And, you realize that some people were concerned that they don't have proper water to drink. There's no proper sanitation for them. And, one girl mentioned during that regional consultation, it's like if they're on their menstruation, they cannot come to school because there is no water available in their toilet for them to use. So it means that where the water is available and the school is like 10 kilometers away from apart. So something like that, where water is very important for one to drink, for one to, if you use the toilet, you would need to use the
restrooms.
Yeah, you will need to use the restroom. So it is very important. I think what we need to do as advocates, or whatever movement that we find ourselves in, we listen to the people that we are advocating development issues on their behalf, to know what exactly do they want, what are they crying for, what are they yearning for. Then we can push that, instead of us assuming that this is what is their developmental issue.
Yeah, I think everything in a project or advocacy, there should be a research, peer research. You go to the community or the village that you want to, give out the project, and ask the community itself what they really want. Because I believe if you go to those communities and you give them things that they don't want, they don't even take care of it. Yeah, so it's important to know what they really want, because what is good for one community might not be good for the other community. So Suno, thank you so much. And can you please run up, like, what do you have to run up everything that we have talked about, advocacy, everything that we talk about.
For me, like, now that a lot of people are getting into the advocacy space, like I said, it's very important to be well informed. You should at least, 2 or 3 times in a week, get to know what is happening at a national level, regional level, and international level as well, so that you can keep yourself up to date, and also hold the stakeholders accountable for their actions. That is very important. I would say that. Also get to understand what the people that you're advocating for, or you're speaking on their behalf, what they really want, what they yearn for, and what's their concern. And also, when it comes to some of the backlash that really happens sometimes it happens online, offline.
Social media.
Yeah, on social media, it's very important. Sometimes you should not engage. If they go low, go high, you do not necessarily have to engage with them. For me, because sometimes, like I said, there are 3 different kinds of people. The people, the people that you're advocating for. There are some people that know what you're advocating for. There are some people that are in the middle. They are semi-informed. They know what you're talking about. And there are some people that have no idea of what you're talking about, but will want to learn. There are other people that are ignorant. They don't want to learn at all. They don't even want to accept that, there is the only constant thing in life is change. So they don't want to accept change. So such ignorant people, if you want to go back and forth with them, where the argument will end up is like either they insult you or you insult them. You end up exchanging, insult, and which is not appropriate. So in such situation, you just ignore them. You know what you know. You still push on the message that you're trying to push in a very, positive way, instead of, you ending up insulting, exchanging, words that are not necessary.
Yeah, I think what you said is really important, because social media plays a role, very important role, and especially when it comes to cyberbullying. Some people will be online bullying feminists, saying this feminists are like that. That's why they're not married. They cannot have husbands. They cannot handle their homes,
But there
etc.
are a lot of people, like there are a lot of feminist people that I know, very renowned ones. They are married. They have they're living in a very happy home. So I think for me personally, sometimes you don't know a person. Sometimes what you see on social media is not that person. So if you get to have an interaction with a person, then you can say this is how this person is. But you can't sit behind a keyboard and say anything that you want to say for the sake of speaking, because you don't know the person. So if you come to me and you tell me it's because you are a feminist, that's why you're not going to get married, I don't have an issue with that, because I know who I am as an individual. And I'm not bragging or anything, but any man who gets to marry me would be a very lucky one. Because at the end of the day, we know what the problems are, and we will not want our children to go through such. Would want our children to blossom in an environment where it's equal for both genders. So if you have a person who is enlightened like that, where would the problem be? Why would you feel insecure that you say, okay, if I get married to this person, she will act like the man of the house? So I feel like men who think like that should really rethink and reset their mind and see, get to understand, get to learn about the issues, and then if you get your facts right, then you can come into a conversation.
Thank you so much, Sunu. They said never judge the book by its cover, and it's very important. Get to know the person first. Do not just come on and judge the person's character. Get to know them. Thank you so much, Sunu. And I think we have a very interesting discussion, and I believe those people that are watching will know that activism is not about creating hate, fight and stuff. We activists are here to create a livelihood, a good livelihood, create peace, and also create an impact in the lives of so many people. Thank you so much. I was your host, Fatou Sanyang, the Women's Hour. We give you an appointment next week, inshallah. We bring in more interesting programs, and of course, young people who are doing immensely well in every development country in this country, and they are creating impact in this country. We bring forward those people. If they cannot come, we go to where they are exactly, and then bring them to the studio to have a very interesting and interactive session, so that people can learn from them as women and people that are creating change in our society. Thank you so much.
Alibe na koto, kamie muzo,